Sunlight filtered through the canopy, warming the clearing where the three friends stood. BunnyBoo stepped into the center, pulling a weathered scroll from a satchel. She unrolled it across a flat stone. The parchment pulsed with a soft, rhythmic light, casting a golden hue over the mossy ground. Puffy leaned in, his basket of cookies resting on the earth, while Zippy paced around them, his paws tapping against the roots. The map displayed a shifting, intricate path leading toward the distant, hidden, giggling forest and beyond. Toward the legendary Ishultulamara, BunnyBoo traced the line with a claw, her gaze fixed on the glowing ink. She pointed toward the dense tree line, where the shadows deepened. The golden carrot rests at the end of this trail. Together, we can do it. She snapped the map shut, tucked it away, and started toward the forest edge. Puffy grabbed his basket. Zippy bounded ahead to clear the path, and they moved into the trees. The vibrant warmth of the clearing faded behind them, as the first real challenge of their journey waited in the deep, uncharted wood. The forest path ended abruptly at the bank of a wide, flowing river of thick, dark chocolate. The air hung heavy with the scent of cocoa ahead. The wooden bridge had collapsed, its planks bobbing in the viscous current. Zippy scanned the wreckage, chirped, and leaped toward a dangling vine. He missed, spun in the air, and landed with a wet thud in the mud of the bank. Puffy paced on a nearby rock, his breathing ragged. He pulled a cookie from his basket and crunched it slowly, eyes fixed on the treacherous flow. BunnyBoo stepped forward, ignoring the mud splatter, and scanned the water. She spotted a series of flat, dark stones protruding just above the surface. She tested the first one with her weight, found it firm, and turned back to her friends. "Follow my steps exactly," she signaled. She moved across the river with steady, precise jumps. Puffy stood, brushed off his paws, and took the first leap onto the stone. Zippy followed, shaking the mud from his fur. One by one, they navigated the slick path. BunnyBoo reached the far bank and held out a hand, pulling Puffy up as he made the final jump. They stood together on solid ground, leaving the river behind. The canopy above shifted, the trunks of the trees sliding against one another like giant wooden gears. This was the giggling forest, where the path was never where it had been a moment before. Zippy darted ahead, his movements erratic as he tried to outrun the shifting bark. He bounded over a root, spun around, and stopped. The trail he had just walked was gone, replaced by a wall of dense, dark timber. He tried to backtrack, but the trees rotated again, locking him in a narrow, unfamiliar clearing. His pacing grew frantic, his paws digging deep grooves into the moss as he searched for a familiar gap. Panic set in. He sat down, huddled against a trunk, and stared at the ground. Back at the edge of the maze, BunnyBoo paused. She spotted a faint, rhythmic pulse on the moss. A trail of small, glowing red strawberries. She knelt, pressed her palm to the earth, and began to follow the luminescence. She wove through the moving trunks, ignoring the groaning wood, until she rounded a cluster of saplings. There sat Zippy, trembling. She stepped forward, gripped his hand, and pulled him to his feet. Together, they navigated the final turn, leaving the labyrinth behind them. As the exit to the cave appeared in the distance, they stepped inside. The walls of the cave were translucent crystal, reflecting their images 1,000 times over. In the center, a jagged pedestal rose toward the ceiling, and atop it, the golden carrot pulsed with a steady, warm light. Zippy did not wait. He sprinted, leaped, and clawed at the air, but he fell short by several feet, landing hard on the cold stone floor. He tried again, angling his jump, but gravity pulled him back down before he could reach the base of the pedestal. BunnyBoo stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the height. She looked at Puffy, then at the wall, and made a sharp, decisive gesture. Puffy moved to the base of the pedestal, bracing his feet wide against the stone. He nodded, signaling he was ready. BunnyBoo climbed onto his shoulders, balancing with care, and extended a steady hand. Zippy scrambled up the slope of Puffy's back, stepped onto BunnyBoo's shoulders, and stood on his hind legs. He stretched upward, fingers trembling, and clamped his hands around the stem of the prize. He pulled. It broke free. Instantly, a blinding shower of colourful confetti erupted from the fruit, filling the cavern with a brilliant shimmering glow that washed over them from every direction. The air in the cave swirled with vibrant colours as the confetti settled on their shoulders. BunnyBoo held the carrot high, its light bathing the crystal walls in a soft golden hue. Puffy let out a booming laugh that echoed against the ceiling, and Zippy spun in circles, his paws catching the falling paper. They stood together in a tight circle, the weight of their long journey lifting with every passing second. Puffy took a step, rhythmically thumping his feet against the stone, and soon all three were moving in time. They swayed and hopped, their silhouettes dancing against the shimmering crystal faces of the cave. The exhaustion of the forest and the river vanished, replaced by the simple, steady beat of their combined movement. They moved toward the cave entrance, the light from outside beginning to bleed in, mixing with the fading glow of the prize. Near the threshold, they stopped, turning back one last time to look at the space they had conquered. BunnyBoo held the carrot firmly. Puffy placed a paw on Zippy's shoulder, and they stood still for a moment, letting the warmth of their success settle in. Then they turned toward the forest, raised their free hands in unison, and waved. The edges of the frame began to darken, drawing inward until only the golden light remained, and then the cave was gone.